Continuing from the previous episode 2620. Find the latest chapter in Fighting the Sky God of Yan Emperor. What do you mean by that? Xiao Yan's eyes were gloomy, and his body and face trembled slightly when he stared at a thin and slender figure in the distorted picture. The figure in the picture is Su Shuiying. Ever since Dou Di continent parted ways, there has been no trace of the latter. If it wasn't for the news of Feng Wan'er, I'm afraid even her life and death would not have been predicted. I never imagined that she would actually join the Demon Palace. And looking at Su Shuiying's current outfit, this guy's status in the Demon Palace is extremely high. The entire demon world has fallen into my hands. I believe that with the great power of Lord Xiao Yu, I have already felt some real situations in the picture. The fifth evil lord was shrouded in pitch-black evil mist, and only a pair of scarlet demon eyes leaked out. Seeing Xiao Yan like this, he immediately smiled. Only by letting Xiao Yan know the current situation can he prepare for the next transaction. After all, he naturally knows about many things that happened between Su Shuiying and Xiao Yan. As long as I give an order, they will all die. However, this time the demon world is not to obliterate the creatures that rule the demon world. This master has a deal that is enough to exchange for the safety of the entire demon world. I believe that the Lord Xiao Yu should be interested. In the pitch-black air mass, a confident voice was faintly conveyed, as if it had settled down on Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan's eyes are uncertain. Now, with his strength and the powerhouses of the Fire Elves, it is indeed difficult to completely defeat the evil army formed by the two evil gods and the many powerhouses in the center of the demon world, not to mention the protection of the demon world's creatures. Master Xiao Yu's talent and strength are all extraordinary. As long as you pull out the magic sword hidden in the Devil's Palace and give it to me, I will lead all the troops under my command to withdraw from the Devil World. All the evil forces that have eroded the demon world will disappear completely. The voice of the Holy Demon Lord suddenly became colder and heavier, and he said word by word, with a tone of confidence in his words, staring at the latter with a malicious look. Magic sword, the Devil World is safe. At this time, Xiao Yan couldn't help but fell into deep thought. The strength of the two in front of them is almost at the 7th level of reincarnation. Now that they are unreservedly displayed, it is not difficult to trap them. But if the Holy Demon Lord gets the magic sword, I am afraid that the outcome of this battle will become bewildered. Most importantly, Xiao Yan did not believe that he would withdraw from his armies so easily. The words of the people of the evil tribe outside the territory were undoubtedly full of uncertainty. It's a word. Send me in. Although the thoughts of the enemy and us were well known, but the current situation could not completely turn his face, Xiao Yan had no choice but to speak out. Lord Xiao Yu, don't have to worry, this lord counts what he says. Once the magic sword is in hand, this catastrophe in the demon world will definitely be disintegrated. But I have to remind you kindly, every move of everyone in the Devil Palace can't escape my control. Xiao the domain owner is a smart person, so don't do some tricks that you think you are smart. The voice of the Holy Demon Lord was cold, but the warning under the words became more and more obvious. Humph! Xiao Yan snorted coldly, naturally aware of the seriousness of the current situation. Peeved. With ease, Xiao Yan was sucked into it by a monstrous magic power, and swept towards the positions of many temples in the Demon God Palace. However, with the emergence of this evil channel, Xiao Yan's body was isolated by some kind of strange power when he was about to enter the temple. It seems that the many temples of the Demon God Palace are sheltered and isolated by some kind of power. That kind of eerie power, even Xiao Yan is a little bit troublesome. Holy Demon Lord, your actions like this are too child's play. If you get the magic sword, could it be that you really want to withdraw from the army and let the land of the Devil World be free? These things are not what you promised the deity in the first place. At this time, the World Master in the center of the demon world, who had been standing quietly beside him, Demon Venerable, couldn't help but said, HMPH, Demon Venerable, you submit to our foreign evil clan. I have raised your strength to the quasi-7th reincarnation level. You don't need to ask about the rest. In today's demon world, without the many powerhouses in the center of the demon world under your command, relying on the land of the 5 domains alone will not pose a threat at all. And the purpose of attacking the demon realm is not to destroy the demon realm. You don't know the true power of the magic sword at all. Powerful power is always accompanied by danger. If Xiao Yan fails, then naturally we don't need to do anything. Even if he succeeds, there is still the magic piano in your hand, and the magic sword will fall into our hands sooner or later. At that time, he is still in a mortal situation. The voice fell, but it contained a lot of obscurity. Boom! Xiao Yan was caught in the vortex of evil and headed towards the temple of the demon god palace, but he was blocked on the way. The void in front of him suddenly distorted, and the scenery of the temple in front of him disappeared instantly, but was pulled into a dark abyss by some kind of force. The icy, evil aura rushed towards his face, and even ate away Xiao Yan's consciousness a little bit. The fluctuation of the formation? The many temples of the demon god palace entrenched in the mountains are clearly in front of us, but no matter how Xiao Yan moves, the distance between the two is still so far away, as if separated by some kind of force. Condense the formation with the heart, the inscriptions have insight. In an instant, Xiao Yan's eyes closed slightly. The core inscription in his body kept waving, faintly emitting a terrifying resonance, and he actually slowly submerged his body into the invisible formation. As time passed, this mysterious formation was slowly cracked by Xiao Yan. This guy actually knows the formation skills? Looking at this scene, the eyes of the sixth evil *** and demon venerable shrank unconsciously, and the murderous aura in his heart became more and more dignified. The power of the formation is more mysterious and rare than the power of holy flames. If it wasn't for the formation researched by the first generation of demon gods to stop them, they would not be waiting here helplessly, and they would not have made such a deal with Xiao Yan so easily. This Xiao Yan's growth rate is too terrifying. If we can't kill him this time, I'm afraid that soon, even the four guardians, the capital of the law and the domain will be threatened. Mozan, I changed my mind. Sacrifice the creatures of the demon world and start singing demigods. Whether or not the magic sword is returned to my hands, keeping this guy is just a scourge. Suddenly, in the fifth evil god's evil demonic fog, bursts of rich scarlet demonic energy emerged, and he roared in a hoarse voice. Yes! Listening to the order of the holy demon lord, there was a crazy wave in the evil mist of demon venerable's body protection. The demigod technique sung by countless demons as sacrifices, with such power, even 10 Xiao Yan, I am afraid that it will only be lost. And the powerhouse who displayed this kind of rank fighting skill was himself. The realm master of the center of the demon world, the new sixth evil ** of the extraterritorial evil clan. In this battle, his reputation will be resounding throughout the world, and at the same time, he will gain a firm foothold among the evil races outside the territory. This day, he has been waiting for a long time. The name of one's own demon venerable will eventually resound throughout the entire Great Thousand world. Continuing from the previous episode 2621. Find the latest chapter in Fighting the Sky God of Yan Emperor. At this time, the temple of the demon god palace, which was sheltered by the power of the formation, was inside the main hall. The demon god palace is the most powerful force in the demon realm. Even the poison god palace's heritage, without the poison god in charge, is still unmatched. In the demon god palace, the demon god palace master's strength has advanced to the 6th reincarnation rank, and the deputy palace master has also stepped into the half-step 6th reincarnation rank. In addition to the 3 demons and 6 evils and other high-level officials, whether it is quantity or quality, it is enough to be called the first force under the devil's command. After all, the strength of these powerhouses is spread around the 5th and 4th layers, and the strength of the entire demon palace can be described as extremely terrifying. Now in the main hall, nearly 10 high-level officials of the demon palace gathered together. Their expressions were solemn. From time to time, strange black air gushed out from their bodies. There were even drops of cold sweat on the edges of their foreheads, and a gloomy aura lingered around their faces. The whole person looks very weak. The black lines on the center of their eyebrows are constantly surging, like a poisonous snake, constantly swallowing their little vitality. When the catastrophe broke out in the demon world, it was not long after the palace master of the demon god palace was beheaded by the demon emperor. The demon god palace had just picked up his corpse and prepared to be in charge of running for a new demon god. The appearance of the evil ** took the lead in severely wounding the strongest among the 5 major regions of the demon world, and then planted a magic pattern to rule the entire demon world. However, judging from some obscure information, it seems that the fifth evil master seems to be very coveted by the magic sword in the magic palace. After ruling the entire demon world, he did not hesitate to try to extract it himself. In the end, with the power of the two evil gods, he could not get close to the magic sword. The Mountain of Corpses, and then Helpless, can only use the lives of many demon palace powerhouses as bargaining chips to trade with the vice palace master of the demon palace, and let their assistants have drawn the demon sword in exchange for their lives. But even this superpower, who has reached the half-step 6th order level, has not yet stepped into the Mountain of Corpses of the magic sword, and is buried in it. It seems that the so-called Mountain of Corpses with the magic sword hidden is full of mysterious restrictions. It is doomed. It was also at that time that Su Shuiying, the most popular candidate in the Devil's Palace, completely inspired the formation left by the first-generation Devil God, the 9-square magic palace map, which was used to shelter the entire Heavenly Devil Mountain range and many of the halls within it, forming the final sanctuary. Protect them. At this time, in the main hall of the Devil's Palace, there was panic and anxiety in the eyes of many high-level officials, and their eyes kept lingering on Su Shuiying's lifeless pretty face and a dying old woman in front of her. Su Shuiying, the newly promoted genius witch of the Demon God Palace, although she only has the strength of the triple reincarnation level, but she has 2 holy flames in her hands, which is even more highly valued by the elders. But now, the great elder was seriously injured, the 2 palace masters of the Demon God Palace have completely fallen, and the remaining powerhouses in the entire Demon God Palace seem to be in a panic of some kind. Elder, why don't let's surrender. Now that the situation is completely in the hands of the 2 evil gods, there is absolutely no chance of winning against them with our strength. The World Master in the center of the Devil World, the Devil led many strong men under his command to betray the Devil World and join the foreign evil race. Now outside the Temple of the Devil, 2 evil gods and countless evil powers are dormant. Once the power of the formation left by the first-generation Devil gods is exhausted, there will be no burial. This catastrophe, if we refuse to obey, we have no hope of surviving at all. If you surrender, maybe you can. A middle-aged man with a gloomy complexion was the first to lose his voice. His gray-white eyes were like stagnant water without any fluctuations. One of the 5 evil spirits spoke first, apparently giving up struggling and resisting, almost speaking in a trembling and weak voice. That is almost the last desire to survive. Especially under this kind of torment and fear, they haven't seen any strong people to support the demon world for a long time. The last bit of luck in their hearts has been completely exhausted, and the defense line in their hearts is like a solid city wall. Collapse down. Humph. Although my people from the demon realm have always been despised by Dachenji and listed as a person with an unrighteous heart, we know that we are part of Dachenji from beginning to end, and even if our family is ruined, we will never be a traitor. This matter, don't mention it again. One of the 5 evils had just finished speaking, when a white-haired great elder in the crowd covered his chest, and the pitch-black demonic blood coughed out, and he couldn't help scolding. Elder, pay attention to your body. Seniors, wait a minute. Maybe there are many forces in the Great Thousand World who are rushing to rescue us. After all, once the demon world falls, the entire Great Thousand World will face a very dangerous crisis. Su Shuiying watched this scene, her silver teeth biting slightly, but Xiao Yan's figure could not help but emerge in her mind. Between herself and Xiao Yan, a lot of things have indeed happened. Since she joined the Demon Palace, Su Shuiying has only slowly been relieved of the situation of the Xiao clan with the help of the elders' admonitions and ancient books. There must be some hidden meaning behind the annihilation of the clan. However, the current self, the holy flame power, has been used too frequently in the previous battles, and has begun to bite back a little bit. After entering the demon world, cultivation has led to the blessing of magic power. Not magic. With such a self, there is no way for him to return to the line of the guardians of the Xiao clan again. This is also one of the keys for Su Shuiying to join the Demon God Palace and try to run for the Demon God. Su Shuiying knew that her talent was mediocre, and if she followed her normal training speed, the quadruple reincarnation level was almost the limit of her future. However, in the Demon God Palace, there is not only the power of inheritance of the demon gods of the past dynasties, but also the supreme demon sword. Since it is impossible to return to the lineage of the guardians of the Xiao clan, it is not impossible to become a new witch of the demon world. At least he can rely on himself or the power of the demon god palace to help Xiaoyan, the Xiao clan, and atone for some of the overly excited actions he did to Xiaoyan and even the Xiao clan. Su Shuiying, you witch! Since you joined the demon god palace, first the palace lord was beheaded by the demon emperor, and then the deputy palace lord fell outside the mountain of corpses. The catastrophe in the demon world is probably also caused by you. You are a heinous witch. At this moment, the powerhouses of the five evils stood up in unison, roaring like a mad beast, with a ferocious voice and scarlet eyes, staring directly at Su Shuiying. Such a look of hatred and fierceness seems to be able to easily tear Su Shuiying to shreds in an instant. Obviously at this time, in the face of real death, the prestige of the demon palace seems to have no binding force. Especially the unwillingness of the two people in front of them to surrender will undoubtedly push them towards the abyss of death. Enough! In an instant, the cold voice of the first elder suddenly sounded, and an extremely majestic demonic pressure swept out. Silent. After the coercion was released, the great elder, who was like a twilight old man, stared at Su Shuiying closely, as if he was considering something. Elder, pay attention to your body. Su Shuiying was puzzled, but she still stretched out her hand to support the latter. After all, she was able to have today's position by relying on this great elder. Since there is no one to rescue, then we must not sit idly by. Today's plan. There is still a way to break the current mortal situation. The great elder's eyes did not move, but instead revealed a gloomy and cold meaning. Obviously, this approach may not be a glorious move. Continuing from the previous episode 2622. Find the latest chapter in Fighting the Sky God of Yan Emperor. Elder, don't hesitate anymore. Pass on the remaining power after the fall of the Palace Master and the Deputy Palace Master to me. I will go to the Demon Mountain of Corpse to pull out the magic sword and solve this catastrophe. After a while, Su Shuiying also suddenly realized the intention of the elder's words. There was no trace of blood on her cold and pretty face, and a cold smile suddenly appeared. She knows that to gain great power, there is always a corresponding price to be paid. Now part of the power of the two palace masters is recovered in the hands of the elders, but no one dares to covet the power of that kind of destruction. After all, part of the power of the two palace masters is extremely evil, and once contaminated, it will definitely die. But Su Shuiying was not afraid of this. What? Just you? Merely triple reincarnation level strength. Among the remaining 5 evil spirits, someone motioned her to stop, because they knew that Su Shuiying's move was tantamount to sending her to death. Even the 2 evil gods and the palace master are helpless, and it is even more difficult to rely on her weak strength. Although we used the special power in our demon god palace to recover a part of the energy after the fall of the 2 6-layer reincarnation rank powerhouses, but that kind of power is too huge. Even if you are talented, I'm afraid you can't easily absorb it. If you are not careful, you will fall completely. The method I'm talking about is not this, but gather the power of all our demon god palace powerhouses, and create a demon god again with the power of Zhugong Guangming Zhu left by the first-generation demon god. The first elder shook his head, and after a while, his scattered eyes were suddenly filled with an extreme madness. Guru. Create a new demon god. The inheritance of the demon god, since the fall of the demon god, it has been a witch, the 2nd and 3rd generation demon gods, and now this is only the 4th rank and there is no new candidate for it. The power of the demon god is comparable to the 7th reincarnation rank or even stronger. But how difficult is it to create a demon god? Wu Xie and the others shrank slightly, and looked at the elder with some horror, and a touch of bad things poured into their hearts. Could it be that the great elder really wants to go all out and destroy the countless years of hard work in the demon palace? Now all of us have been planted by the evil gods with the magic seal. Although it is temporarily unable to take effect under the protection of the magic palace formation, once the formation is broken, all of us will surely die. The first elder shook his head slowly, and did not directly persecute these guys, but now the situation is serious, and the implication is very clear. Nevertheless, I think the person most likely to succeed is the great elder. How could it be possible for an offspring to bear the burden? We will never agree to this matter. Wu Xie spoke at the same time, obviously having a lot of hostility towards Su Shuiying. I have 2 holy flames, which can temporarily suppress the backlash of the 2 powers. In addition, the power of the 2 palace masters will surely die. When Su Shuiying heard the words, she looked at the great elder, who nodded to her with a face full of relief, and bursts of icy murderous aura filled her eyes immediately. No one has ever been able to pull out the magic sword, even you. After a moment of hesitation, several strong men could only grit their teeth. If it is successful, then I will become a new demon god, rule the entire demon world, and get everything I want. If it fails, it's just the punishment a sinner deserves. At this moment, Su Shuiying had a strange black flame on her icy clean skin, like some kind of evil creature, slowly crawling out. Greedy, several cold auras instantly fell from Su Shuiying. At this moment, she seems to have changed a person. Okay. Seeing that the holy flames began to surge, the first elder nodded suddenly, and then took out 2 dark asterisk of light from under his sleeves. It was a demon species unique to the Demon Palace, which recorded the source power of the Demon Palace Master and Deputy Palace Master. After the 2 fell, they even used the magic traces to retrieve some of their breath power and injected them into it. If it can be completely absorbed and combined with that cultivation technique, it can indeed have a ray of vitality to resolve the danger. The 2 asterisk of light, as if imprisoning and suppressing some heinous demonic energy, stared at them tightly, and the heartstrings could not help but become violently ups and downs. Monster. Su Shuiying, accept the power of inheritance. The great elder had a mighty voice, and the demonic energies surging around him. With every gesture, 2 groups of demons were projected into Su Shuiying's body. Oh! The demon light group entered the body, and before it began to absorb, a heart-piercing roar suddenly poured out from the corners of Su Shuiying's icy lips. The pupils in the beautiful eyes suddenly enlarged, filled with countless bloodshots, the black flames on the skin rumbled and burned, and a greedy aura seemed to be unfolding a monstrous offensive in his body. The 2 groups of demons and the 2 holy flames in Su Shuiying's body erupted with monstrous hostility. Elder, if things go on like this, before she can start to absorb the strength of the 2 groups, her entire body will be completely broken. Seeing Su Shuiying's tragic appearance in front of her, several people spoke one after another, and their voices were full of anxiety. This is their last chance. If they fail, I am afraid that the entire demon palace will fall into a real doom. Su Shuiying, don't hide it, use the holy flame magic pattern. We will pass all the power to you, and the life and death of the devil world depends on you. At this moment, looking at Su Shuiying, whose body was trembling and her chest was constantly flickering, the great elder finally made up his mind. No. Once the power of the night demon fire breaks out, it must end with blood. And now it is eroded by 2 groups of demonic energy. Once it is used, it may be difficult to ensure everyone's safety. Su Shuiying's delicate body was trembling, and she held her head in her hands, as if in pain. We have been planted with a magic seal, and we are all dead. Little girl, it's up to you next. Although Wu Xie and many other high-level executives were quite dissatisfied with Su Shuiying, under the current situation, it seems that they can only pin their last hope on her. This life. It's an honor to get to know you, girl, but unfortunately I'm not qualified to be your teacher. Btth. The first elder easily came to Su Shuiying's side, the magic fire was entangled, and the blood slowly dripped on its holy flame, and even completely disturbed the void here, making it impossible for people to easily check. Senior. At this moment, looking at the great elder in front of her, Su Shuiying shook her head slightly, and an inseparable sadness finally emerged in her heart. Suddenly, there was a black flame in her body, and it flew out like a ferocious devil who had been imprisoned for a long time. For a time, in the many temples of the entire demon god palace, the demonic fire was surging, and wherever they went, there was no turbulence. Go ahead and send our power to her completely. The voice fell, and everyone in the main hall actually sat cross-legged, arranged in a polygonal pattern, sending the power in their bodies to Su Shuiying continuously. On their bodies, the magic mark planted by the Demon Lord Demon Venerable in the center of the demon world is slowly fading, and a dark incomparable curse mark magic pattern reappears on their foreheads. At the moment of its appearance, the thread of the magic seal planted by the devil became very weak, and even a power belonging to the holy flame was warming their bodies little by little, filling their limbs. Among the skeletons, in the black mark, there are some faint traces of words appearing. In the depths of the mark, it seems to be the word Xiao Yan. Of course, with the protection of Su Shuiying Shengen and the Great Elder's life-threatening strength, the two evil gods outside did not notice this strange scene. Continuing from the previous episode 2623, find the latest chapter in Fighting the Sky God of Yan Emperor. Hoo, after wasting so much time, I finally found a trace of the mystery of the formation and penetrated into it. In the void of the Tianmo Mountains, Xiao Yan's body resurfaced, breaking through the ancient formation hidden in the void, and swooping down towards the temple below. The formation was complicated, and there were countless proud works of the first-generation demon gods. Some of these forces even caused the demon power in Xiao Yan's body to release a little bit of vigilance. The achievements and talents of this first-generation demon god are truly unmatched. After Xiao Yan poured into the temple, he used some spiritual power to construct a formation of nothingness, which distorted the supervision of the two evil gods outside. What? The body has fallen, and with the huge perception, the remaining powerhouses in these temples are limited in terms of strength and number. However, Xiao Yan had just set foot on the ground, and before he could look around, he was pulled into a very strange area by a strange force. This is the core temple of the Demon Palace? When he turned around, he saw that where his gaze was directed, not far away, there were several dying figures falling to the ground. There is a devilish energy lingering on their bodies, which is the innate aura that belongs to the demon world powerhouse. These guys are naturally demon powerhouses. However, not only did they have the devilish energy of the demon world, but there were even some most demonic and holy powers imprinted on their eyebrows, which was extremely strange. They have a weak evil power. This power comes from the evil race outside the territory, and it cannot be used by a half-evil *** powerhouse. Even in that curse mark, it seems to be a familiar fluctuation. Night demon fire? Immediately, when Xiao Yan was about to explore the surrounding temples, his eyes suddenly stopped on the bodies of several people in the temple in the distance. As he spoke, he cautiously approached the core temple of the Demon Palace. Big Elder. At this time, in the hall, Wu Xie and other powerhouses looked at the dying Great Elder, and immediately said hurriedly. Even with such a cheerful and fearless move as Su Shuiying's, the success rate is almost less than 10%. Don't worry, I can hold on for a while. I hope that girl can succeed. After the first elder finished speaking, the curse mark on the eyebrows was like a greedy beast, constantly absorbing her blood, even the power of the source, and feeding it back to Su Shuiying, who entered the corpse demon mountain. After obtaining the power of the two groups of demons and the feedback of many curse marks, the power under Su Shuiying's control has already reached a level of near destruction, so she stepped into the mountain of corpses alone, trying to absorb these powers. And then, draw the magic sword. Where did that girl go? Xiao Yan's figure was as fast as a ghost, and she easily approached everyone. There was still some of her exclusive aura in the void, and then her voice was cold. You, who are you? Actually broke into our Demon Palace temple without authorization. Wuxi and other powerhouses looked at Xiao Yan's thin figure. A surging pressure was like a 10,000 Cati meteorite suppressing them. This guy's strength is too strange, and he quietly poured into the temple? The formation left by the first generation of demon gods, even the two evil gods could not crack. This guy actually cracked and entered here? A dangerous breath poured into the hearts of many strong men. Xiao Domain Master? The Great Elder, who had just closed his eyes, opened his eyes with great difficulty when he noticed this breath, and his mouth was full of bitterness. As the Great Elder of the Demon God Palace, he naturally heard about the true appearances of many powerful people in the Great Thousand World, so he recognized Xiao Yan for a while. Xiao Yan? Endless Fire Territory? At this moment, listening to the voice of the Great Elder, the eyes of several people around him were filled with ecstasy. Unexpectedly, it was really guessed by Su Shuiying, the strong people in the world did not give up on them. With the existence of this guy, the demon world will not be destroyed like this. She goes. The Great Elder looked gloomy, as if he would fall completely at any time, and his voice was intermittent. Seeing this, Xiao Yan shook his head involuntarily, and then jumped over several Demon Palace powerhouses, walked to the Great Elder's side, raised his palm, and a dazzling dark suction burst out. Xiao Yan, what do you want? The powerhouses around looked at Xiao Yan's actions, and clearly smelled a terrifying wave that made the scalp numb from the majestic suction, and a palpitating breath of death poured into their hearts. This Xiao Yan actually wanted to obliterate the great elder in front of them? Does he want to rule the demon palace? Don't move if you don't want to die. Xiao Yan did not pay any attention to the surrounding powerhouses, but swung his palm towards the body of the great elder, and the majestic devouring power swept out, instantly wrapping around the latter's body. Peefed! In an instant, the bursts of black energy were like moths flying into a fire, and they were suddenly swallowed up, and bursts of white mist poured out in the hall. Any void affected by the white mist could not help but become twisted and broken. Cough cough. Thank you, Lord Xiao Yu. At this moment, the great elder stood up strangely and looked at Xiao Yan in front of him. Lord Xiao Yu, please take us away. Whatever you ask us to do, we'll do it. We don't want to die. After a while, seeing Xiao Yan's terrifying means, Wu Xie and other powerhouses knelt down and pleaded. Compared with death, everything seems to be trivial. There are reinforcements from our endless fire domain outside the temple, so don't worry about the catastrophe in the demon world. But before I rescue you, there is one more thing. You have her spell on you, tell me, where is she? Xiao Yan didn't intend to waste time with these guys, and went straight to the point, but such words undoubtedly gave the powerhouses a reassurance. As a member of the Xiao family's guardians, Su Shuiying would not let Xiao Yan go no matter what. She went to the mountain of corpses. Listening to Xiao Yan's figure, everyone spoke quickly, and their voices were filled with a feeling of the rest of their lives. What? You? At this moment, bursts of anger suddenly burst out from Xiao Yan's chest. That place was where the two palace masters and the two evil gods were helpless. If this girl went alone, it would be tantamount to digging her own grave. If something happens to her, none of you want to live. After a while, Xiao Yan turned to look at a dry well surrounded by demonic energy in the temple, and said sternly. Why? His heart suddenly trembled, as if he had guessed some strange relationship between Xiao Yan and Su Shuiying. Because she will always be a part of our Xiao family. Xiao Yan's body instantly slid into a dry well in the hall, leading to the demon mountain of corpses. Su Shuiying is actually a member of the Xiao family? At this moment, many strong people couldn't help feeling ashamed for their previous rude behavior. I hope this time, the demon world can save it from danger. The first elder felt the temporary suppression of his own vitality, and immediately meditated in his heart. The faint voice fell, and the entire demon god palace suddenly became quiet. Obviously, some orders were received, and hundreds of powerful people began to pray. Whether it's the corpse demon mountain or the plan to make a demon god. Entering the demon mountain of corpses, Xiao Yan and Su Shuiying were in different situations. Continuing from the previous episode 2624, find the latest chapter in Fighting the Sky God of Yan Emperor. Woo-hoo-hoo! In the various regions of the entire demon realm, the gloomy wind was blowing, especially around the Tianmo Mountains of the demon god palace. An unprecedented peak confrontation intensified. The two heretic god powerhouses waited here quietly, looking at the scene in front of them that was secretly altered by Xiao Yan, but extremely calm, as if they were waiting for something. In addition, the fire elves and others are also quietly waiting here, waiting for Xiao Yan, who poured into the temple to give orders, and they will launch an overwhelming attack on their evil army. At that time, I'm afraid it is a real fighting situation between the two forces. The dry well in the center of the temple of the demon god palace is the entrance to the demon mountain of corpses. Once you step into it, you may be in a situation where there will be no life or death. At this time, the two figures jump into it one after the other. As for the mystery of it, I'm afraid I know very little. After all, even the two evil gods and other powerhouses cannot break through. I'm afraid it is not an easy place. Elder, thank you. The moment she jumped into the dry well and descended, Su Shuiying could feel the increasingly strong magic energy around her. Those forces slowly aroused the magic energy in her body, like some kind of devil originating from the abyss, assimilating herself little by little. Immediately, he turned his head and glanced at the few people who were drowning in the line of sight. His nose was full of soreness. This parting may be a goodbye forever. Boom! In an instant, when it fell to the ground of the corpse demon mountain, It was standing on the edge of a coast of dozens of meters, and a scene like the end of the day filled her line of sight. The corpse demon mountain in front of him is like a huge mountain standing in the sea of evil demons. In the surrounding magic sea, there is a black mass, and countless magic energies are surging around. Such a rich magic chi is shocking. Between the surging sea of demonic energy in the sky, there is an aura of dead silence that accompanies it. The two groups of demons on the wrist suddenly released very fiery fluctuations towards the magic mountain in the center of the magic sea. The holy flame and magic fire in Su Shuiying's body slowly beat, and the power absorbed by the released curse marks made her own. The power is increasing little by little. When his eyes were projected towards this sea of magic, the boundless aura of death, accompanied by a cold fear, rushed toward his face. Not to mention whether it is possible to draw the magic sword, I am afraid that it is a difficult problem to break through the shackles of this magic sea and go to the magic mountain. The magic sea whistled, and it seemed that once it fell into it, even the soul would be easily eroded away by it. Those breaths contained in the magic sea made people panic. Such an area seems to be a Jedi at all. How can it be cracked? Let me try. Despite facing such a dangerous situation, Su Shuiying has no sign of retreating, because now she has desperately gambled and has no way out. For a time, the internal exercises started to work, and the two holy flames gushed out at the same time. Although the power of devouring each other made them devastated, they were still resisted by them. At the same time, the demon seed was thrown into the body, rapidly refining and absorbing the pure magic power in it. Heart-piercing roars poured out, and Su Shuiying's whole aura and demeanor changed dramatically, but her strength actually skyrocketed. Triple reincarnation stage. The pinnacle of triple reincarnation. Boom! Su Shuiying's strength continued to soar, and one of the two holy flames behind her, the dark flame of the night demon fire, actually had an illusory old figure emerging. The Shao clan pattern was drawn between his eyebrows, and with his gestures, he actually stabilized the tumbling aura in the entire sea of magic. Just a moment later, the sea of magic shook violently again, and the sea of magic energy rolled up countless storms of magic scrolls, and countless forces such as bones and blood corpses were noisy, and they came to Su Shuiying. But a strange scene also happened at this time. When Su Shuiying's body came into contact with the magic scroll storm, it disappeared in place strangely. As if being swallowed by the sea of magic in an instant? Or maybe the figure in the dark night demon fire just shot and solved the danger of the demon sea for him? There is the so-called corpse demon mountain. It didn't take long for Xiao Yan's figure to appear on the edge of the original magic sea. As soon as I came here, I was shocked by the sea of magic that covered the sky and the sun. Soul power radiated out, but could not find Su Shuiying's breath, immediately narrowed his eyes and looked at the huge mountain in the sea of magic. The mountains are so huge and magnificent. In this endless black sea of magic, they are as small as an isolated island, but no matter how destructive power is set off in the sea of magic, it cannot cause any obstacles to it. As if there is some mysterious connection between the two. HMPH. I still don't believe this is a dead place. Since this place is left by the first-generation demon god, there must be a way to crack it. The descendants of the demon god palace have not cracked the secrets, which can only mean that their method is wrong. Soul power, holy flame. For a time, Xiao Yan was sitting cross-legged on the shore, with powerful forces pouring into the sea of magic all over his body, trying to explore the depths of the sea of magic and find a way to solve it. Xiao Yan's soul power, Sheng Yan and other powers were blocked from moving, and slowly moved towards the depths of the demon sea. Not long after, dozens, hundreds, and even tens of thousands of huge crowds came back from the depths of the magic sea. Scenes and tragic emotions are revealed. These guys are all arrogant people in the center of the devil world. They stepped into the devil sea to draw the devil sword, but they all fell here. The picture of death is like a black frenzy, attacking Xiao Yan's consciousness and strength, trying to swallow Xiao Yan together and stay here. Xiao Yan did not resist, but let this strange force devour. Suddenly, the sea of magic began to roll over, and from the depths of the sea of magic, there was a storm of destruction composed of countless pitch-black demonic energy permeating out. The breath of death permeates the world, and it can easily wipe out all life. In the storm, miserable cries and roars are looming, like the pleas of dying people. Bones, corpses, and extremely foul-smelling demon blood roared together to form a real doomsday storm. The sea of demons collapsed little by little, and the world changed color. It seems that even the real 7-layer reincarnation rank powerhouse can only quietly fall below it. Under such a doomsday death scene, Xiao Yan's strength became vulnerable, and even his entire body trembled. Once swallowed by the devil sea storm, Xiao Yan's only death was waiting for him. Got you. However, when faced with such a tragic scene of the doomsday storm, Xiao Yan's eyes suddenly opened, and then his body was bathed in a 7-colored holy flame, and he quickly rushed into the ferocious mouth of the doomsday storm. The seemingly dead act is actually the key to breaking the magic sea and entering the corpse magic mountain. Because this sea of magic has an alias known only to the first-generation demon *** himself, the Sea of Deception. At the moment when Xiao Yan rushed into the sea of magic, cold hairs formed all over his body, and a dark and death aura poured into his heart, but no matter how severe and terrifying the aura was, Xiao Yan did not have any signs of retreating, and his body was swallowed by it little by little, just like an instant surge into a special space.